League of Legends time, everybody. It's NLC Division 2 by British Solari coming at you for our game of the day, which is also the final game of the day. UniQ will be going up against Nativz, a team that I almost forgot the name of for a second time. Don't know why I'd do that. They're very good at the moment. These two teams tied up, and I'm getting word that Stumpy, the man, the myth, the icon, will be making an appearance in this game.
I think your cat is just as excited as you are because I can hear it on the
Oh,
background.
it's Reed's cat.
It's Reed's cat. That's even
If
better.
you can hear a cat from my mic, let me know because I do not own a cat.
I can hear a cat, but I wasn't sure whose it was, and somehow I thought it was yours. I forgot that Reed had a cat. I apologize to Reed and to his cat specifically.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. But I mean, if I had a cat, he'd be on broadcast with me constantly. He'd just be here, just vibing. It'll be a unique selling point that other casters don't utilize. Unfortunately, I do not own a pet, so I cannot do this, and I cannot partake in all the like NLC pets. Just can't participate in that game. But it's fine. I'm not or anything. If we get production just confirming what role some people will be playing in, that'll be good because having a substitute in is crucial. These two teams are joined up. They're up in those playoff spots right now for unique mixed performances so far. Stumpy's playing mid.
Ooh,
which how is your Cassidin? I guess is the question. Because I actually during the break a little bit towards the end of last game, I was talking to Jamada. Just even when he's not on broadcast, he's never far away from my heart. And I was like, dude, why am I saying Cassidin? I thinking he'd have some like big insight. He was like, nah, no clue, mate. This is not good. So the teams have apparently decided that it's the counter to Corki, which he was like, yeah, that makes sense-ish a little bit, but also it's probably not correct. So, you know, we'll have to work that one out here on broadcast if it comes through on the final game of the day. But as you can see, Nativz are on the blue side with lots of familiar faces. UniQ are on the red side with Stumpy in the mid lane filling in for Eden Fox, who is unavailable today. And that is going to be a pretty big performance because Eden Fox is a big miss.
Now, for Nativz, having the first pick in your hands, what do you decide to use it for? Who do you go for? Because for now, we still have a little bit of bats left for us. So many good options available. Do you want to secure the hyper carry for yourself? Maybe for the bot lane? Because right now, everything is open for you. The Zeri, the Lucian, the Twitch, I'm forgetting the names. Even the Kalista, for example, is still open for you. Or Senna, you can go and secure something very strong for yourself. Or do you look into the jungle, for example? Because Uderbound, thank you very much. I'm not going to say Uder in this game. But still, so many good options available for you as well. Or do you go towards the mid lane immediately? I love this Gwen ban. We haven't seen Gwen absolutely. I'm at least seeing her face somewhere, even though it's in ban, so it's a little bit sad still. I like Gwen, I cannot help it, but she's not going to join us today. So, what is going to be the first pick for Nativz? And more importantly, not necessarily the pick itself, but what lane is it going to be? I expect them to try to go for something strong that is available, and I'm expecting it to be the carry for the team. Now, what is it going to be? We'll find out so soon.
I can see it being Wukong, potentially, because that one's not been banned away. And while, yes, there's a lot of different strong bot lane picks, the crucial thing there is there are a lot of strong bot lane picks. You're not necessarily losing anything out. Of course, the Corki, yay. Cool, that's fun, Ryle, isn't it? It's something that we're seeing an awful lot because he's so consistent. He hasn't got a horrible early game, can bully away range melee stuff. He's got good scaling. His item breakpoints are very nice for the length of game time at the moment. What the response is going to be, Victor, of course, has traditionally been the answer, which goes pretty even with him. Whether we're going to see something a little bit different from a Stumpy in the mid lane. Okay. I think that will likely be in the top lane.
Yes, it looks like the Karga's top lane. So the Wukong going to the jungle most probably. I mean, you can still throw him into the top lane, but does it make more sense? He's so much more useful in the jungle, which means I have Gragas in the top lane. A lot of front laning, a lot of sustainability, quite some good control for you, and very good ways to jump into the fights and start them, or to disengage from them if you decide to do so. So starting up pretty strongly, but now you need to build on some damage on top of that. What do you take for the bot lane? Because there is already Ezreal available for Nativz. You miss out of equation, but you have Karma, you have Lulu available for you, and bot is always an option, even though I'm not entirely sure about that one, but you can go on and secure the bot lane for yourself. But there are just so many good answers on the bot lane for UniQ available as well. Okay.
Yeah, it's not going to be the support. It's going to be the jungle instead. I'm going to make a statement here that may be blown out towards almost immediately. I reckon this might actually be Gragas mid.
It might be Gragas mid.
Because Stumpy historically has been a top laner. He's a champion that we've seen him play before. And as an answer to Corki, I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility. Nautilus is going to be the lock-in to grab yourself a good engaged support. Now it's going to be a case of taking away stuff. I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Karma ban away, potentially, from the side of UniQ. We'll have to wait and see.
Oh, Rakan. Okay, the Deciding with Rom, also very good pickup for Israel in the bot lane, providing him with the sustain, providing the control for the team in the fights. But still, Rakan actually right now starts to sound such a good option for me for Nativz. They need some good engage because Viego is not necessarily going to be the one who wants to start going into the enemy team. And right now on UniQ, they're already, with the 3 picks that they have 3 very good engage options. So you need to answer that with something because you cannot allow them to be the ones starting all the fights for themselves.
Maybe Janna isn't even a horrible idea here from Clocks because it gives...
It's always a good idea.
Well, it's not. But in this specific situation, having a massive disengage tool is really useful. The Nami I also don't think is terrible if they wanted to go in that direction, even with the not being with the Lucian. It's still going to give a massive amount of disengage, or whether they want to go for something a little bit tankier, which will just give them something to stand up. And the Kai'Sa lock-in, something we don't get to see too many games anymore just because of the priority placed on other champions. It's interesting that Guff has gone that direction rather than something like the Zeri, which has been left open.
It still could potentially be thrown to the mid lane, just a crazy thought here.
It could.
But regardless of where it's going, it's a very good backline access for you. All of a sudden, you have all the ways to go into the enemies. Make sure you lock them, make sure they cannot really reply to you. But that's such a good reply! Finally, Alistair, this is the disengagement tool you were just talking about. He is going to provide sustain on the laning for Ezreal, which is something he probably will need, especially if Nautilus decides to go onto him. He is going to be so good in disengaging against the enemies who will be definitely jumping into your team and will be trying to get most probably to Ezreal. Please log this Sage.
Don't tease me. Don't do it. Clocks do. Yes! Someone's finally... Oh, okay, right. It's been so long since I've been able to cast a Sejuani game because teams are like, oh no, we just won't pick it until Viper's not there, and then we'll pick it because it's meta now. I'm so happy that this one has been locked in. It will be going up into that top side. What it'll be going up against is still yet to be seen. It could well be this Gragas. It could be something else if Stumpy wants to show off his skills in a different way. And actually... the Akali lock-in for Stumpy in the mid lane. This could be fascinating.
There is a lot of... Everybody has some access to the enemies and to the backline as well. That is going to be Akali going to the top lane against Sejuani, apparently. Oh, that could be so interesting. But, like, you have a lot of options to get to the enemies. You have a lot of burst damage, and you top it up with a very good front lane for yourselves to make sure that your enemies are busy fighting something while you're actually cutting them down. Now, what do Nativz have? They have Sejuani. I absolutely love the pick of Sejuani, even though it wasn't the last pick, so not answering the whole draft of UniQ. It's still such a good pick against what they are trying to do. Together with Alistair, she is going to make sure that this whole jumping into the enemy's composition might just not work out, because there's so many good ways to stop them and to slow them down. And the slow is going to be so crucial against UniQ, against this Akali, against this Wukong and Kai'Sa. If you slow them down, you have the opening to kill them. So this Sejuani is going to be so important in the fights.
And of course, with the itemization, TP Ignite for both top laners we're being told as well, which makes complete sense. The idea that it's kind of an on situation in lane, if you think about Sejuani, if you're not used to seeing this pick up, it's a burst tank. So she's not necessarily going to be going in 100 to zeroing the Akali, even though she's a squishier focus than we usually see. But from like 50-40%, Akali is in the danger zone because there's a surprising amount of damage coming out of that W. The CC as well is going to lock up the ninja. And for the Sejuani, the itemization is going to be really nice because she wants to get that early Frozen Heart. She wants to be getting these tank items and making sure that the rest of the enemy team isn't going to be able to participate. And we're going to have to wait and see where the damage is truly going to come from on the side of UniQ, because they've got the Akali, which does a whole heap of damage, absolutely diving on forward, wants to be securing all of that work. But Gragas isn't the big damage dealer that Corki is going to be. You look at some of the other options. Wukong does some, but isn't able necessarily to take people down on his own as we get into the middle to later stages, especially if an Alistair and a Sejuani meet him when he goes in for an engage. So I'm a little bit concerned about Unique's damage portfolio. I can't exactly remember the marksman that they locked
Kai'Sa.
in. Kai'Sa. Okay, so that's where a lot of the damage has come from.
Yes.
But Kai'Sa also, outside of the W, has to be in the mix to do that damage.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think there's been enough lockdown drafted that Nativz should be fairly confident about team fighting in the latter stages. Whether that will pay out, we don't know. We've been playing League of Legends for a long time. We always know that talk before the game goes on is kind of irrelevant because teams sometimes just do the darndest things. But I'm excited to see how this game goes down.
Oh, absolutely the same. I really want to see how this Kai'Sa is going to look like, especially in the team fights, because yeah, if she jumps into the enemies, especially into their backline, she can put a lot of damage on the table, but she's going to be very vulnerable. She doesn't have something like Yumi, for example, that is going to stay with her and make sure that she survives throughout that. If she jumps in, she will be extremely vulnerable to the control as well, and the control is where her death is going to happen. I would maybe prefer to see in these combinations some AD carry that can stay pretty far from the danger, that can position themselves safely and do the damage from afar, something like Chin, Zeri, for example, something that either stays away or repositions themselves quickly. But well, we need to see how this Kai'Sa is going to fare out, because here we go for the last game of the day.
Last game of the day, Nativz on the blue side. Dumpy's heading top. Which, okay, that makes sense because he's the top lane and will be going towards that mid lane, at least initially, which changes things around a little bit, but ultimately, we'll have to see if the Akali is going to be a good option into this core keepers. A lot of players don't really seem to have the consensus of what is the good Corki counter pick so far in the meta, especially at ERL level. No one's really seems to be that clear. We've seen Cassidy as the accepted wisdom in this league, at least. But most importantly, Reed, what skin's Lundorf running? Because there is a correct answer here, and I don't know whether we'll have got it on the Sejuani. Okay, no, it's Saber Tooth. No, it's the pig one. No, that's actually not a good skin. It's
the firecracker.
Yeah, that's not prominent. That's not. It's the Hex Tech one. Hex Tech Sejuani or traditional Sejuani are like the correct answers. And then Poor Rider also gets some credit. No, Poor Rider's okay, Reed, but it's not S tier.
I mean, I have a problem with that Poro skin for Sejuani, to be honest, because it's super cute. But then, have you seen the animation for when she dies? There is a little baby Poro, and apparently that Sejuani's Poro is the mama, and it breaks my heart every time I see it.
I mean, it makes me question Poro physiology, because it's like that Poro doesn't look like we know what Poros tend to look like. So why is Sejuani's Poro huge and a different shape?
It's a mama Poro.
Yeah, but like we've seen the King Poro, he's huge, but he's still the same shape as other Poros. Whereas the Mama Poro is not at all the same shape as other Poros.
That being said, breed of Poros.
Maybe it's like someone said it was like a variant. Like you have like Pokemon variants in different regions now. They were like, maybe it's just a Poro variant. So we'll have to, maybe that's a good theory. Maybe it's not. We'll have to let greater scholars on the topic debate that one. But ultimately, the top lane, Stumpy up there on the Gragas, is going to be able to survive and sustain pretty well in this match. I remember Sejuani is going to be looking to bop around and cause some mischief up there, and it's actually surprisingly mobile as well, so ganking might not be the greatest option if the Q is available. But looking elsewhere on the map as well, just to see what's going on, the junglers are both moving in opposite directions. Viego up towards the top side, Wukong down towards the bot. In this bot lane as well, we do have some decent options for engage. We've got the Nautilus and the Alistair. Remember, clocks will be decent on the disengage in these team fights, but the headbutt pulverize, very, very potent lane tool.
And both junglers are actually committing the full clears this time, so they will be pretty equal in terms of their level, how fast they reach the level 4. And after the recall, I assume they probably could recall after getting their level 4 and then going back into the action. They will be pretty ready to go into the lanes should they decide to do so. You don't necessarily expect too much early action from Viego. He can do that, but he is the scaling champion. You expect him to start shining towards later stages of the game. For Wukong, he can come online a little bit earlier. Yeah, you would love to have your ultimate to go onto the lane, so maybe because of that you might want to stay in the jungle and farm up just as quickly as possible to speedrun on to level 6. But what if you don't? What if you want to start mischief somewhere else? Because you have openings for that. You have the champions that you might want to feed with power. Akali, for example, she will do pretty well as we will go into the game unless she's completely shut down. So maybe that's an option for Nativz here. But what if you give her some early kills? She'll be so happy from them. It's not going to happen because, well, Wukong is going towards the bot side of... No, he's just recalling, making sure that there is full clear understanding now that Viego went for a full clear and they're pretty...
Stumpy!
Oh!
We're going to need a replay of that one, but of course,
Yes.
First Blood going over. Viego in this game is going to love going towards that top side because he gets those quick auto resets, which is going to allow that CC from Sejuani to come through even faster.
And he gets the slow from Sejuani that is going to help him so much to lend his damage as well. Here comes Sejuani, not a lot of mana available, but Gragas is completely out of mana. Here comes the control, here comes the ignite, and up to Viego. It is just to deal damage, just to keep doing that. And here he goes, the first blood in the end going towards Nativz. It's pretty good for them. Viego getting the early kill, already having the Shin available for him. He's going to be online quicker than you would expect him to, and it's very crucial if you're against Wukong. You want to get to level 6 and to start being very active with your level 6 on the map.
All summoners have been blown in that top side, and the flash from Viego was also utilized to obtain First Blood, which is going to be fairly crucial. You've got to imagine for Viego to get himself a little bit further ahead early and get himself around the map a little bit more. Dragon has spawned onto the Rift. It's going to be a Hex Tech for our first Dragon of the game. I almost said the day, but we've had many Dragons today of all different varieties. As Naya's in the mid lane. Needs to be a little bit careful. Remember, ranged into melee, Corki into anyone is not the most pleasant gameplay experience, but the Akali will be able to dance around a little bit more than some other options. Pre-6, of course, the Kastan, the focus of today, hasn't been able to do too much as Akali would be able to. But I'm just keeping an eye out and seeing where these two junglers want to make a play, because Wukong's still trying to power level towards that level 6. Delay on the Viego, maybe looking to make a play happen in the mid lane.
Oh my god, I think Akali's going in. Oh my god.
I know, Nihas, that's very, very close. Does manage to survive, but really is going to step forward. Not too much mana, but will be able to hit the ultimate. Not enough to secure the kill, but does take Nihas very, very low. And now Viego looking up towards this top side. Lundov does have the ultimate to throw down if he wants to utilize that. Snille steps up. There's the ult. It's going to be the stun, not just the slow. And Viego securing the kill. Nice ultimate from Stumpy. Would disengage, and Lundov goes very, very low. Could be caught out by a stray cast, but it won't be enough to secure the kill.
It was very close on both lanes, actually, and it's not over yet.
Stumpy stepping up aggressively, but Clocks is there to help secure the kill as we get the reset going down onto Viego. No ultimate to get out of that form, though. Shafty will cross map into the Dragon.
I think they didn't expect the Alistar to show up on the top lane a little bit, and it kind of caught them off guard, but definitely they helped them secure it. They helped Nativz secure the second kill. Second kill on Viego already. Oh, it's starting to look pretty scary. But for Akali, that was very close on the mid lane, and for her as well, because I was looking at Rally. He was having the flash available for him all that time. He didn't have enough mana, so maybe because of the... Oh, yo, what are you doing there?
I mean, Rotbengi thought his jungle was safe, but it simply was not. Shafty gets headbutt away. Rotbengi survives on a sliver of health, and actually might look for a re-engage as Stumpy turns up. It's a 4v2, and Nativz the ones overextending. Snille shut down. Clocks gets a nice knockup, but won't be able to survive too much longer, as it's a double for the Wukong.
Okay, so we exchanged the 2 kills for the junglers. Doubles for both of them. Well, not double on Viego, but still 2 kills there. So, definitely overstepping there for Nativz. They have quite some vision available in that part of the enemy jungle, so they were feeling relatively safe. But there were just too many people reacting way too quickly from UniQ to that action, and they were way too fast there to secure the kills for their own jungler as well. Now, level 6 is available for UniQ jungler. No level 6 available for that Viego just yet, so we expect to see a little bit more Wukong on the side lanes, maybe answering finally something on the top lane, or I'm looking at the mid lane, where the Akali has level 6. She doesn't have her first mythic yet, so she is not in her full power, but you already have the possibility to try to go there and help her secure the kills, because for Akali, pre-first item, it's still very hard to secure the solo kill. Or maybe it's going to be Nautilus, actually. It's also a decent option.
Yeah, really needs to be a little bit careful. We'll be able to just jump away, fly away from that engage. Nautilus has really not been interested about being in bot lane. He's been all over the map, and it looks like Shafty is going to go for the second neutral objective of the game, looking towards that Rift Herald. It's down about half health right now as more members of UniQ show up, and this should be an easy secure. I don't think there's any opportunity for Nativz to try and get a contest on to this one. And now they've got the opportunity to grab themselves an eye and place it down. So by breaking over mid lane to prevent Corki from being able to sit and wave clear would not necessarily be the worst idea.
Because he's farming up. Because he's ranged, he has pretty nice time farming up as long as he's staying in a safe distance from Akali, not catching her. Stumpy, you're catching something though.
Yeah, he's catching a death. It's kill going over this time to Lundorf, and it's really just as simple as that.
I don't even... How do you prevent that as Stumpy right now? Do you just place wards absolutely everywhere around yourself? Because it must have a kick onto your morale on the top lane. Getting killed for the 3rd time already, that must hit you pretty hard. And also it hits you pretty hard that your opponent is getting the Charred Blades. This Sejuani is getting the gold in her pocket. She's farming up much better. Right now, she is in a better position. She's going to be itemized so soon. She's going to be very tanky. Look at the gold difference. It's more than 1,000.
And this is going to be great to give your tank line some extra bonuses. The sooner you can get stuff like the Frozen Heart, probably looking towards the Fimbulwinter as well, I've got to imagine. I think I saw a tear in her inventory before we flipped over. Yep, there it is. So going to be grabbing that one as well. The Iceborne Gauntlet will be the option, has been the consensus in terms of mythic items. Divine Sunder is very funny, but isn't necessarily good in the traditional sense. It looks like it's just going to be a case of surviving, causing all kinds of issues whenever there's an engage. And as we mentioned, UniQ do need to get in the faces of Nativz in order to make this team fight composition work. They don't really have the ability to play at range unless they're really believing in Guff's W's to do all of the work for them. And Nativz, as we mentioned in Champions League, I just think this is a really smart way of playing around this game. And yeah, they've got themselves a small lead, just over 1,000 gold. As UniQ just trying to grab whatever they can get.
Maybe they will be able to grab the dragon as well, because it's coming up in less than a minute. They have the Prior on the bot lane available for them. They can try to push for the Prior on the mid side as well, and then go for that dragon. They have absolutely no vision available in that part of the map, except for one Scuttle Crab next to Pete, but he's going to go down, I think, pretty soon. So you need to establish the vision, you need to push for the control, take the second dragon, then see what the soul is going to be like. Stumpy, are you okay there? No, I think he's okay. There is still ultimate available for Lundorf, but he doesn't really want to use it because it's a good thing actually, because Shafty is not far away. He could potentially join on the top side.
Yeah, Lundorf, Sejuani's not the kind of champion that's going to 100 to 0 anyone, so just trying to get a little bit of poke down, control the lane as much as possible, even holding on to stuff like the Q in case he gets ganked, because he is extended without too much vision as he's looking to get a little bit of a trade going down, but don't expect any kind of dive play without a bit of assistance. Just going to try and play around, maybe grab himself a plate, but as things go lower, as Stumpy gets towards that 40% mark, 30% mark, that's when things get a little bit scary for Gragas.
A little bit, I would say pretty scary to be honest, because it's still, even if Sejuani builds up in full tank, she will have the damage, and what's more important, she'll have hell a lot of control that she can put on you. And what can you do about the control? Well, here's the cue from that Sejuani. She's just getting away from any trouble coming her way.
Package is available for the Corki, and the teleport in from Stumpy puts him in a lot of danger. Clocked with the ultimate to keep himself alive, and Gragas teleported to his death there.
It feels a little bit personal, to be honest, from Nativz, just to keep stomping the Stumpy, but he definitely found himself in that big miss position, and he died because of that. The dragon, in the meantime, was taken by Nativz, so it's an exchange of the dragons. And finally, I was just thinking we haven't seen the Mountain Soul today, and something I would love to see, and we have it. UniQ would love it so much. The soul with the shield. Oh my god!
Oh, no, he's going to be able to get one kill onto Clocks. Ral is still around, though. Looking to get a start down, looking to get the damage onto this. Akali will be able to secure the kill onto the lane opponent. First one that he's received so far. Riftchild has been used on the top lane, but look at the jungler and the top lane. Lundorf and Stille trying to get onto Rockbank. He won't be able to do so. Lundorf needs to be careful now. Stille is still tracking the Nautilus. Will be able to get the kill and the reset there, but Sejuani's being hung up to dry. It's a killing spree for the monkey as Wukong secures another.
So it's still the exchange of the kills for the junglers. One of them gets a kill, another one gets the kill, and they try to be going pretty equal. But that Mountain Soul, right now both teams have the opportunity to stack 3 of these dragons on top of each other, and each of them is going to give you resistances and the armor, and then the shield that comes from the soul is going to be so crucial for UniQ if they decide to go to execute their full in jumping into the enemy's face draft, because this will give them this additional boost of sustainability when they do so, and things like Akali and Kai'Sa will have easier time surviving that, because Akali is actually not going for the Riftmaker. She's going for additional movement dash for herself with the Hextech rocket belt, when we see the replay of what happened on the top lane with Lundov being dangerously low on mana here, considering that abilities cost, especially the Q, can cost you quite a lot. Here, they managed to catch Rodenberg quite nicely, but I'm not even sure who is caught, considering Nahe is the one caught. Yes, you try to put on some control, but you don't have enough, and it's just too many enemy members, and Lundov just caught here, completely cut out from any ways to get into the safety of the turrets or the teammates.
I mean, ultimately, it was a 1-for-1 exchange because the Nautilus was
Yep.
killed Rock Bengi, but not necessarily an even one, as you're losing out on your top laner for the support, and Nativz sending Yopper down towards that mid lane just to hold on to the tower. We haven't got plates anymore. They have just fallen off in gold. Still 2,000 to the good for Nativz. They're still in a strong position, even if Lundorf did just fall. But meanwhile, Viego needs to be a little bit careful. Stumpy has marauded into his jungle, gets the ultimate down, but a nice dodge from Snille, who's now putting some damage down. Clock's here with the knockup, headbutt, pulverized damage. Reset from Viego as he picks up another kill and looks towards Shafty, who's going to be able to get the knockups himself and tries to sneak away, but won't be able to do so as a kill goes over to Ezreal. Guff needs to be a bit careful. Clock's chasing forward, but Lundorf's a little bit too low to get too involved. Has the ultimate available, but there's no real damage until other members show up, but it looks like the Rift Tail is just going to be the focus.
You have such a good prio on the top side right now, so why not go for the Herald and try to get some additional prio somewhere else, getting it first, because we haven't had the turrets in the game yet, so getting the first turret could be pretty nice for you as well in terms of the gold and in terms of the disadvantage that you put the enemy team into. Oh, there was an attempt, but they didn't work with Kaiser's W not getting the steal. Now Lundov though is in a bad position because his teammates just left this side of the map, but again, it's Sejuani. She has the Q, she's able to get away from such trouble.
They would just dive off, and there wasn't enough to really follow up from UniQ there. So this game, 15 minutes in, feels very, very close. You've got to imagine that Nativz have just been shading it with the eye test going forward, and the gold leader's not going to contest that particularly. But when you've got UniQ taking decent fights, scrapping pretty well, and ultimately securing themselves an objective or two here and there, game set up to be very, very interesting moving into the mid-game. Champions have started picking up their first items, especially if they're either they're mythics or they've got the tier items being picked up by the likes of Corki and Ezreal over on the side of Nativz. On the other side, Stumpy obviously has not been having the most pleasant time this game, but you look at champions like the Wukong has that Divine Sunder available already. A lot of the gold being hemorrhaged on the top side from the substitute player, but the rest of the map's looking fairly decent.
And the Kraken Slayer available for the Kaiser as well, so it's quite some decent damage here on the table already available for the team if she joins the fight, and that's something I want to see. I need to see some good team fights. Looking at the mid lane, potentially something could happen, not full-on 5-on-5 fight because top laners are pretty busy, but the dragon is coming up in less than half a minute. It's going to be the second dragon for either of the teams. They want to go for it. Nativz have the prio here with the Herald that's going to be popped off, potentially taking the turret down. Even I need to say it. Yes, here comes the first turret finally, and now they have the prio to go towards Drake. It's up to the vision right now because Akali can still try to outflank you, and most probably she will try to do so, maybe together with Wukong.
Corki. Okay, that was pretty brave from the Corki, just teleporting directly on top of the Akali, but it looks like there's going to be a fight elsewhere as the ultimate comes on through onto Wukong. Headbutt, pulverized damage comes out, and it's going to be Clock securing the kill.
I had my worries about... I have my worries about the bot lane right now. Oh, managing to get away from potential death with the ultimate. But I have my worries about Nativz, about how they're going to start the fights actually, because there's so many ways for UniQ to do so. How do you shot call as Nativz? But Sejuani is the perfect answer to that. It's not just a disengage tool, it's an excellent engage tool for yourself as well. She can start the fights with a Q, with the ultimate on the table, a lot of control, a lot of CC, and after that you just throw everybody in after her, and you get a kill for yourself, and you get a prio on the lane, and you get a Drake, so it's so good for Nativz right now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cascade there. Nativz picking up one thing after another, and with that Mountain Dragon, we talked about how it'd be quite nice for UniQ. Of course, for Nativz, when there's a lot of burst engage coming on through from UniQ, yeah, you've already got champions that are kind of designed to prevent that, but grabbing yourselves a Mountain Dragon, grabbing yourself those resistances, and even the shield on Soul means that even if you don't necessarily have Sejuani and Alistair taking the brunt of that, champions like Viego may well be able to survive more effectively through it if they've got themselves those extra defensive tools.
Viego and Ezreal, I would say, because Ezreal still needs to find himself in safe positions, and he might not be allowed to do that if Akali has her focus on him constantly, for example, or something like Wukong. They can try to shut him down and not let him just move around the team fights freely. Having the shield will make sure if you have the engage and the boost from Akali, for example, you survive that. And if you survive, you're able to still deal the damage, and you will have your team most probably coming to rescue you.
I mean, with the Akali problem, you can already see Viego and Corki have both got Hex Drinkers. They're not hugely interested in messing around with her damage numbers and the thing. We're going to grab a shield if you try and do any magic damage to us. Looking at you two, Stumpy, but he's going to be caught out as Snille, and Clocks managed to get on top of him once again. Nice disengage ultimate from him, though. Will allow him to waddle away, but that's a big tool that has to be used to keep Stumpy alive, and actually might prevent any kind of threat onto Yopper as he just clears away another wave mid.
But where do you need to have the prior right now? Where do you need to have any pressure? If you're UniQ, what do you do right now? Because you are being pushed forward through the top side, through the mid side, there is a lot of pressure as well. On the bot side, you're trying to do something with that Akali, who we pretty often see on the side lanes, but it's not enough because Sejuani is there to answer. What do you do in order to bounce back into this game and answer to this constant push coming from Nativz? The objectives are coming up soon. There is going to be the Baron pretty soon. Yeah, that's going to be a Baron, not another Herald, because we had already enough of them. It's 20 minutes into the game almost. That feels a little bit crazy. So you might want to try to start establishing a prior around him, at least in terms of the vision, because I'm looking at the map. A lot of blue wards available on that side of the map, and I'm not seeing enough red wards at all, to be honest. Or the dragon, because next dragon is going to be the soul point for Nativz. You don't want to allow the soul point to happen, and at the same time you need it for yourself. Do you play around the objectives right now as UniQ? Do you play safely and wait for the objectives? It feels like it could be a decent option for them.
I mean, the question really is, how confident are UniQ going to be feeling about scaling? Because we know that Nativz is going to do exceptionally well with the likes of Ezreal and Corki, and Shafty just stepping forward might be caught out, but Nativz just a little bit too impatient. Will be running towards that top side. Clocks has to headbutt his way out. Teleport coming on through, though. UniQ want to make this play work. Members are not there from the opposition as Nativz trying to stay alive. Clocks is big, but can he stand for much longer? Yes, he can, as the bottom of the fight is where the action is. Stumpy and Nias looking for assassinations onto Snille. The damage is there, but Akali's broken to pieces by the Sejuani standing in the rift. The War Mother takes another as Shafty goes down to UniQ in full retreat, but they're not going to be chased too much further as it's a 2-for-1 exchange.
11-5 already. I mean, honestly, I keep looking at Sejuani and I just cannot stop thinking about how great of a peak it was. Already the Baron? Okay, yeah, makes sense. You have the jungler down, you have two members of the enemy team down. You can try to go for it, especially if Rally continues to shadow the other side of the Baron pit, making sure you scare away anybody, and I don't think UniQ can actually do anything to stop this Baron from happening for Nativz. It's going to be a pretty early one, and okay, that was a little bit scary there from Stumpy.
I've seen Stumpy steal Barons in the past. Unfortunately, this time around wasn't able to do so for UniQ, but Nativz managed to pick themselves up. Baron on 5, I believe. Clocks had just respawned. If we can get confirmation of that from you, Mr. Reed, that would be stellar. Just want to see the cow, really. No, that's the pig. The cow. Oh, no. So yes. Lundorf doesn't have the Baron, but Clocks does. So it's Baron on 4. Actually, not having it on Sejuani is pretty sad, because Sejuani on a side lane is going to feel good. But also, equally, at this stage in the game, there's not really a split push threat.
No, wait.
Oh, no, Lundorf does.
There is the Baron.
The pig's just fat is the issue. But like,
you're very straightforward about that.
Yeah, well, it is. The pig is fat. Fatter than other mounts that Sejuani has, it feels like. True. But it's fine, because now you've got Baron on 5. It does mean Sejuani could be in a side lane. Teleport from Corki coming on down. Has package available, I believe. Yep, you can see that just under the plane there. So it could be a case of Nativz wanting to try and force a fight, because if you can take a decent fight with Baron buff, maybe they can push through and break open the base.
They can just keep pushing through the mid and the bot side, and at the same time the dragon is coming up right now, and they have a massive prior here right now, so they can just go in, send their junglers, then their mid laner there to take it. UniQ need to understand that it's happening, but can they really reply to it? They have too much pressure happening on the bot side. With that said, Sejuani actually pushing forward constantly. They need to send somebody to reply. I don't think Akali alone is enough, so okay, they have more members actually coming to this side. Could potentially be a fight. Oh yes, here it is.
Rob Bengi goes very, very low. Could be sniped out. The ultimate goes wide, but the package is going to be utilized to secure the kill, as really securing another for himself. Second of the game, actually, only for Corki, interestingly enough. But Nativz has got 2 members still on the bot side, pushing forward, breaking down that inner tower. Maybe looking to try and get something going onto that inhibitor as they look to dive forward towards Stumpy, but he's able to bop away Nativz. Keeping the pressure on the bottom side. Nikus is the one who's going to respond to Lundorf just to keep him away from the tower. But there's a minion wave, Baron empowered. And Nativz going to be able to break open the mid lane. Wukong's nowhere to be seen. He's going to look for the long collapse potentially, but I don't know if this is necessarily going to work. He's caught out on vision. The inhibitor tower is broken down. Nativz clocks is the one who's keeping Wukong at bay as Yopper steps back. The second inhibitor tower falls on the bot side as well. But it looks like no inhibitors are going to be under too much pressure just yet.
They're open, so it's already good enough for you. You can continue later if you have the prio either with the next Baron or if you win some good team fight for yourselves. You have 2 lanes potentially open for you. You can go through them and you could stomp to the end of the game as well. Or you can just wait till the next Baron. Then again, you have 2 inhibitors. You're going to be very quick with taking them. You can also try to open the top lane in the meantime by sending Sejuani to the side lanes. Or Corki. You have 2 very good split pushers and you need to utilize that for you. You have so much prio at the bot side of the map. Try to get prio to the top side as well, because this next Baron is going to be so crucial for you to finish the game. But the Dragon as well. The Dragon is coming up a little bit later than the next Baron is going to be up, but still, it's going to be the soul for Nativz. Will they want to fight for it? I mean, I think they will.
I think, again, it's a case of UniQ, unless things look so dire that they're unable to contest even slightly, they're going to have to contest. And if they're in a position where it's so dire they can't contest, game's probably not in a good enough position for them anyway. So I expect to see a team fight around that one if the game goes that long. Of course, Nativz, one good team fight breaks down 2 inhibitors, maybe a little bit more. Clocks actually doesn't mind getting caught out. He's an Alistar with ultimate up, remember, so he's not going to be too concerned about anything going on. It's one of the powers of this pick. We don't see Alistar very much, but he's one of the tankiest champions in the game when he throws down that ultimate. And UniQ going fishing, potentially looking for someone like the Viego, someone who's a little bit more achievable when it comes to assassination. Clocks now has been broken open, below half health, but look at all the damage they threw into him. He's still standing as there's going golden in the middle of Snille. He might have been caught out. He has to flash over the wall, looking to hold away, but won't be able to do so. Sharply dives back towards him and will not be able to get a kill. And now Snille's got the reset teleports coming in the other side. Both teams sending members in from the other side of the map as Naya's looking to dive forward, get an assassination, won't be able to do so. Looking for Snille, but he's already resetting as Akali falls. Yopper puts on a clinic as they chase forward. Rock Bengi the only survivor, but I think that could be game.
I think that is the game. That was such a lucky reset for Snille back there onto the Stumpy. He almost died, but he managed to jump into the tanker champion and he survived because of that. And right now, look at that. It's a game for Nativz. They're stomping forward right now. Rottenberg cannot really do much. He's the only man left standing. Is he left? Yes, he is left standing. But right now, this is the game for Nativz. What are you doing?
Coming up, are they going to try and contest this one? I think they'll be a little bit too slow. Too much damage going down onto the Nexus. Nativz take the win off the back of some very smart drafting as UniQ are pushed aside.
16-5 by the end of this game, but oh my god, I cannot stop thinking and talking about that Sejuani pick. It was just so brilliant, such a genius answer to everything, to the whole draft of UniQ. She stops everything, like any idea that you could try to push forward for with a pick. Sejuani will stop all of that. The CC, the control, the tankiness, the mobility, the damage. Everything is there for that champion. Surviving the laning phase, and not just surviving, but getting these early kills and shutting down Gragas was such an important beginning for the beautiful game for them.
Well, we have done with all our games, but we still got the post show to come as well as a couple of interviews, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.